I can't get behind you.
I feel like I could have went backwards on it.
Don't! Hey guys, good morning to us and welcome back to Tremor Trails. If you've been following along on this little video series we've been doing, we have been out exploring the EMHT, the Eastern Mojave Heritage Trail. In our last video, we finally finished section 3. That was a grueling section, no doubt. And today we are starting on to section 4. To recap really fast, the EMHT is over 660 miles, even closer to 700 miles these days, of a pure endurance, grueling, beautiful, wheeling kind of trail. You're going to experience everything from small rock crawls to being stuck in washes, stretches of flatness and sand. The scenery just continues to get more beautiful as you go. It really is an experience and a great time. If you have a week to get out and do a section, I highly recommend you do that. In the last video, we picked up Mr. John Marnell, and he has been cruising along with us, and he's actually going to come do section 4 with us, so we're really looking forward to that. Historically, there's not a whole lot of things to talk about, but there are going to be some fun things that we're going to get to see on our adventure today. Nonetheless, it's about 7 in the morning, maybe 7:20 now. We got a little bit of cloud cover. It's going to be a beautiful day though, and we are going to try and get as far down. We're looking at probably 9 hours, maybe even 10 hours today on the trail if we can pull it off. We'll see how we feel later in the day. Let's go. It's going to be a fun one. Now, if you've ever seen any of my other videos, I always talk about one of the main things I love about overlanding is all the rich history that you get to go explore. And just like everything else, this spot was extremely full of rich history. Where we are right now is Camp Essex and Camp Clipper. And Camp Clipper and Camp Essex were responsible for training 1.2 million soldiers to go fight the Nazis in World War II on the North African front. Camp Clipper was home to the 33rd Infantry Division, and Camp Essex was home to the 93rd Infantry Division. This was commissioned by the one and only General George S. Patton. The only thing left now is this old beat-up runway and the 500,000-gallon concrete reservoir that we slept at last night, but you can kind of just look around, close your eyes, and imagine all of the young men that were out here, scared of what their future might be, but nonetheless ready to go fight and take it to the Nazis. Yet again proving that the Mojave is such more than just a desert. Not only is it beautiful, but it has history and roots that tie all the way into the American spirit. All right, guys, what a way to start off the morning. We are in the Piute Mountain Wilderness area. We have been driving this wash, climbing up these mountains, and man, the views are just incredible out here. Having a blast. As you see, the trail does get tight in some spots, especially when you're down grinding through those washes. A few more pinstripes. If you haven't followed any of these videos prior, one thing to remember about the EMHT is that you have to divorce yourself of your paint job if you want to come out and do these trails. Pinstriping is a guarantee, and you're probably going to get a few scratches. We run PPF on our truck, so we don't have to stress too much about scratches on the front half of the truck, but the rear end is not protected, so we do get some scratches back there. It is just beautiful out here. This has been a really fun section of the trail. We pretty much left the air base way down by I-40, and we have climbed up, and we've probably gone, I would say, about 18-20 miles or so far. From here, we're gonna climb up out of the mountains, and we're gonna drop down, and we're gonna start searching for the mailbox. So on every section of the EMHT, there's 4 sections in total, there are mailboxes, and the goal is to find the mailbox and sign your name to let people know, you know, that you've been out here, and it's kind of a quote-unquote badge of honor, so it's fun to sign those things. But we wanted to stop really quick, stretch the legs, take in these views for a moment. It is just a gorgeous, beautiful day, and we're really having a blast out here. So, all right, we're gonna saddle back up, jump back down on the trail, and go find that mailbox. This leg of Section 4 really was a beautiful section and surprised all of us as we drove through it. It's always hard to, put 2 hours of trail time into a 2-minute segment on a video. But my main takeaway from this leg of Section 4 was A, the trail was very easy to drive, which is something you don't get a lot of on the EMHT, and just continuing dropping out into the vastness of the desert and then climbing a little mountain range, then dropping down again. It just made for a really enjoyable morning drive. Now, Section 4 on the EMHT is notorious for one leg being the most difficult part of the whole EMHT. And I knew that later in the day we were going to be experiencing that puppy, so I was enjoying the reprieve of just being out here and being able just to take in the scenery for once, instead of stressing about how difficult the trail was and how I had to maneuver the vehicle. After about an hour and a half, 2 hours, we finally saw the final mountain range to where we knew Section 4 mailbox was, and we started to make our way over there. Once again, just taking in the beauty of the Mojave Desert. Okay guys, we have found mailbox 4. Once again, on each section you're going to have a mailbox for the Heritage Trail, and they ask that you sign and date when you came through. That way they can keep record of how many people are out here. And it also actually helps with records in case BLM or somebody for some reason wants to come in and say, well, there's no action out here, we're going to close down the trail. It helps to prove that there are people out here exploring and having fun. So it's important to sign your name on the mailbox. When was the last time somebody was in here, John? We've noticed that the trail looks pretty worn, or not worn, but used, so we're kind of excited about that, so we don't think it's been too long.
November 26th saw the last traveler. Before that, November 24th.
So today's the 29th, so we've had quite a few people come through the trail this week, which is awesome.
23rd had a Northern California Land Rover Club.
And the reason it's important that they sign it, once again, I was kind of explaining.
Oh, so the BLM keeps track of the use so they don't inadvertently or with some reason try to close it. These books are kept at Goff's Cultural Center, and we have a record of the travelers.
All right, well, we're going to sign the book, and then we're going to get back on down the trail. But what a cool spot for the mailbox, right here at the foothills of these mountains. Burning Shoe Wash is where we're at, John told me. I could barely see it on the camera, so I don't know how well it's showing up. Those mountains way over there, that's where we were last time I spoke to you guys. We came all the way down out of the desert across all of these washes, and now we're heading more kind of southernly, back around to some more mountains and down further into the desert. But man, this section has just been beautiful. We have, I mean, this may be my favorite section as far as beauty goes. There was a lot of cool things in section 2 that I remember. Section 3 had some beautiful spots, but for not being a whole bunch of historic stuff, just being out seeing the geological stuff on section 4, I'm really enjoying it. Really am, guys. It is beautiful out here. All right, once again, we're going to sign the book, and then we're going to jump back up on the trail. Thanks for following along so far, guys. Once we left the mailbox on section 4, in my humble opinion, the most beautiful leg of all of the EMHT was this leg from Old Woman Mountain into the Turtle Mountains. We traveled about 4.5 hours all the way across the desert, up into these mountain ranges, then back down these mountain ranges onto flatness. But the joy of this whole leg was that you could see forever. It was like you were in a John Wayne movie the whole day. You had some fun obstacles that you had to navigate, and then you had large stretches of just that soft sand that you can drive 30 miles per hour through and have some fun in. It made for a really enjoyable day, even though it was a lot of hours out on the trail. Old Woman Mountain still has several areas that are owned by the Native Americans, by the Mojave, and I can see why. It was some of the most beautiful mountains with character that I recall seeing in years. Remiss not to actually mention the Mojave tribe. I don't think I've really mentioned them in any of this video series. Without the Mojave, we wouldn't have this trail at all. This was originally a foot walking trail, and what they did is they figured out a way to get from the Colorado River to the Mojave River without dying crossing the desert. They were able to find water sources and different wells. Of course, when the Spanish came in, the Mojave tribe took them across the desert and showed them how not to die and how to get to the water wells. And then the 1800s, you had the Mormon settlers and the pioneers that got on wagons and crossed the desert, the exact same trail that the Mojave used for millennia. I'm trying to put my finger on what exactly it was about this leg. It could have been the lack of sleep, the fatigue, but this section just really brought me serenity and touched me somehow out here. I don't know what it was, but it's something that I think all of you guys should experience. I honestly think it's the closest thing you can get to reliving what it was like in the 17 or 1800s, minus the gasoline four-wheel drive and the awesome trucks that we have. Guys, checking back in. We went all the way through the Old Woman Mountains, skirted down into the valley, and then up onto the Turtle Mountains. Just gorgeous out here. These mountains have some character to them. I hope they're showing up on film, but I'm not sure. Come get out here and see it with your own eyes. From where we are now, we are about to be at probably one of the crummiest sections of the whole EMHT proper, and it is going to be the Rock Garden Road. We're going to make a decision what to do once we get there. I'm trying to talk John into doing it with me, but I understand if he doesn't want to do it. I just feel like if I miss that section, then I haven't completed the whole trail. But it's pretty much going to be torture, 100% torture. It's 18 miles of nothing but rock boulders. The reason that that is put in place is simple. Billy Creech, when he redid it, the original route kept going south towards those beautiful Turtle Mountains. And when BLM and the preserve came in, they made that wilderness so you can no longer drive on it. And so they had to figure out a different alternative route. And the route they decided to figure out was you would come through this wash and then you would go on to the Rock Boulder Road. That would get you back to the original trek that Dennis Casebeer did originally and pick it up on the other side. So we're running out of daylight. We got about 2 hours left of daylight, which is probably going to put us close near the end of that trail. We're going to grind out a little bit and then make some decisions. We also need to start thinking about camp for the evening. We're probably 50 to 60 total miles into this section so far. And like I mentioned at the beginning, this section is over 159 miles. We're trying to adjust accordingly. Anyways, that's the updates for now. We're going to jump back up in the trucks. We're going to go hit this garden road and pray that it's not terribly bad. We're exhausted. I'm tired, no doubt about it. This is my 5th day straight being out on the EMHT, and I'm starting to feel the effects. But nonetheless, it is just, the scenery is making up for it. No doubt about it. All right, here we go. I think this is one of the main reasons I love the EMHT so much. We literally just drove for 4 hours through easy trails, and then all of a sudden you get to the end of the day and bam, for 14.1 miles you're going to be driving through an ancient lava boulder field. It's always ever changing. That's something that is so cool about the EMHT. While this wasn't the most technical thing I've ever driven in my life, it did hold a challenge. There were several different off-camber and technical spots that we had to get through. Patience is a virtue out here on the EMHT because you get sections like this where you just can't go fast. You literally just have to crawl your way across the desert floor. No doubt the scenery is beautiful, but unfortunately I just didn't have a lot of time to stare at it as you were literally zigging and zagging around trees, boulders, just kind of crawling your way across the desert towards the finished goal of getting to a smooth dirt road on the other side of the mountain range. And obviously there's no doubt that there's no way to really convey what it was like driving this leg for 3 hours in this video. It's just something that you got to get out here and experience for yourself. But by this time I had already done over 600 miles of the EMHT, plus hundreds of hours behind the wheel all across the country off-roading, and I probably got a little bit too confident in my driving, and also just being fatigued and tired, I probably pushed a little bit too much. And lesson learned, all it takes is 5 seconds of not paying attention on the trail to get your ass stuck. Hold it. Bring your rear end like this. Here goes. Oh.
across is pretty. That's pretty good.
So what happened was, I came up over that hill. I didn't know it was an immediate, like, 90-degree turn to the right. And because I was up and I couldn't see over the hood, turtle! Luckily, John's here with his winch, so we're able to get out of it. Because I was thinking there's nowhere for me to winch, and I would have to go backwards, not
I'm
forwards.
going to go forward and come along to in front of you.
Perfect.
John's our hero.
John's our hero.
Come on back. Come on back. Come on back. Ho! Ho, ho, ho! Got it.
Love us some turn trail assist.
Got it. You want to go ahead of me and find camp in a half mile?
Yeah. Well, all right, guys, there we have it. The end of day 1 on section 4. Man, what a beautiful, beautiful section this was, the beginning of this section. Probably, I think, mine and my wife's most favorite sections of all of them. We really weren't expecting a whole lot, to be honest with you, because I have driven like the last 20 miles of section 4, and I remember it being flat and a few mountains or whatever. But this was, so we weren't expecting much, and coming through the mountains all day long was just beautiful. Starting out there at the Army base and then just climbing, and we were just over 3 different mountain ranges today we went over, which was so cool. As far as the turtling, let's talk about that real quick, because anytime you have something like that, I think you can learn from it. Where we were, I didn't know that coming up that last wash, it was a sharp 90-degree turn at a crest, so you were off camber having to turn. I couldn't see anything over my hood, obviously, because I was straight up, and even my camera wasn't showing that big rock pile. So when we came over the top, I turtled, and that was that. I don't know what I could have done different, except maybe got out of the truck and actually walked it. But one thing I learned from it is that I probably, if John hadn't have been with us, we do have a winch, but because we were jammed, there was nowhere to winch off of, and I couldn't have done a snatch block or anything. I would have had to have stacked rocks all night long and then used the big bottle jack to get out of there. So we'd probably still be there right now trying to get that done. So one thing I don't carry on the truck, and me and John were talking about it off camera, was I need a big metal bar so that if I need to move a rock by myself, I have the leverage to do that. So that's going to be going on the truck. So that's something that I learned. Other than that, thank God you were with us, because like I said, we'd still be out there stacking rocks trying to get off, because I was stuck pretty good. I destroyed that armor under it for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It was, once you got stuck on it, there was just nothing you could do.
Yeah.
But you know, we tried putting rocks under the tires a little bit to make a ramp to back off it. And he was just too hung up on that one great big boulder.
Yep, I would have had to have got out the bottle jack and been cranking and stacking. And we knew that this rock section was going to be worse than the Amboy and the video that you saw on section 3. It was going to be worse than anything on 1 and 2. We knew that this section was, what did your buddy Billy say? That if you don't complete this little 16-mile section, you haven't done the EMHT.
That's right. That's right. You haven't experienced what it has to offer. It was, so far we've been on about 10 of the 14 miles, and we have gotten our share of rocks.
Yeah, no doubt. It was grinding today. It was fun though. This section, I thought it was just going to be like a rock field, and it's not. Like, you have these cool off camber washes that you got to climb. You know, just different kind of. I had fun until I got stuck, and even when I got stuck, I still had fun getting out of it. So that's the first time I've ever turtled my vehicle personally. I don't really want to do it again, but I'm glad that when I did do it, like I said, that you were hanging out with us. So something really cool about all the markers out here is that General Tire came in and, well, why don't you tell them really fast,
Well,
John?
General Tire gave us, the Mojave Desert Heritage and Cultural Association, a grant to fund the signs. The signs were made with BLM's approval, and they were pretty recently put up in this segment of the Heritage Trail. It's nice to have that reassurance that you're on the trail, you're making the correct turn. The signs are at the major turns right now.
Right.
And it's wonderful that General Tire and the BLM are so supportive of this effort to keep these trails open.
And even with obviously John mapping this trail, being one of the original guys, and all the technology that we got in the vehicle, there was still once or twice today we went left when we should have went right. You know, so those signs were almost everywhere, but there was a couple spots where those signs weren't, and we were like, are you sure we're in the right spot? And then, you know, sure enough, we got situated again. Make sure you come prepared if you do the EMHT, guys. You cannot have enough resources because you're down in washes, and all of a sudden you're turning left for no reason, it feels like. And so you got to be able to have your head on a swivel and keep your eye on that map nonstop. So the more supplements you can have, the better. As far as when we were at the mailbox earlier today, we were talking about BLM and the reason that we keep our names in there, but it's really not BLM, right? It's more of the Forestry Service that we're...
Well, the trail registers are to help BLM know what the use the trail is getting.
To keep it open. Not that BLM wants to close it. This isn't a Moab thing. It's that they want to... They're able to show the interest that all of us are doing out here, and that's why it's important to sign it.
That is. And so we sign in, and I tell you, this trail has gotten a bit of activity lately.
Yeah.
And it's good to see everybody's happy about that. BLM, Billy Creech, who outlined all this, and Bill Engelhardt, who's putting the signs up. Everybody appreciates the use that this trail is getting.
This is a diamond in the rough, guys. This is one of our most favorite trails, me and the wife. There's something about being out here. If you want to be alone on a trail, if you want solitude, you want that serenity, you want the true overlanding experience, this trail has that, no doubt about it. Anyways, so that's kind of our little rant. Thanks for listening at the end. Is there anything you wanted to add about today?
Well, I know a lot of material you read about overlanding and off-roading in general says it's really wise not to go alone.
Yeah.
It's always good to have a buddy with you or more, and that was really true today. We found that out. It isn't that TJ couldn't have got himself out eventually because he has the skills to do that. But having a second vehicle, if something were to happen to his transmission, with that big rock.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have that second vehicle. Now, he goes out alone, and my wife and myself go out alone. You have to understand the risks and be willing to accept them. Have a communications plan. If you're stuck where your cell phones don't work, what are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, that's you know, overlanding 101. Go get yourself a Garmin or get yourself, you know, a sat phone, a way to communicate with the outside world. Like out here, there's only been one night, and that was because we camped close to I-40 that we even had cell phone service. So for the past 5-6 days, we have not had cell phone service at all because it's so remote out here. So we're gonna wrap it up today, guys. This section was a blast. We had a good time. I want to, you know how my wife never likes to get on the camera, but I want to give her a shout out today because all of that B-roll footage that you've seen, she was jumping out of the truck left and right, climbing up hills, and I just wanted to say thanks to her for that because we wouldn't be able to get the cool action shots if she wasn't out there sweating, getting us those cool shots. So thanks to her. Until next time though, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please hit me up down below. I'll do my best to answer it for you. We're gonna finish up section 4 in the next video, and we will call this a wrap finally for all 4 sections of the EMHT. Stick around for that one. Until next week, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.